All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another NBA regular season video. In this video, we're going to talk about the one game from last night on prime time. We're going to talk about the Phoenix Suns heading to Minnesota to play the Minnesota Timberwolves. We're going to talk about the game a little bit, break it down, talk about some storylines. We're also going to talk about some headlines from the last couple days, and we're going to go through this NBA standings, talk about who's still at the top, who's hanging around and all that good stuff. So if you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have your own opinions, comment it down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. So let's jump into this game. I do want to say, because I said in my last video, and I'll say it again, I did put up some soundproofing. So if the quality does sound better, let me know down below. I think it sounds better, but I don't know. And when I recorded yesterday and listened back to it, it did sound a little bit better. So I hope it does. You guys do notice the difference a little bit. Anyways, Timberwolves Suns. This was such a weird game. This is one of those games in December or December, January, February, where you're just like, what the hell is going on? What is going on in this game? There was a bunch of shenanigans. There was a bunch of um, just weird things going on. The final score, the Suns won 108 to the Minnesota Timberwolves 105. And off the back of some just unlikely heroes and some likely heroes. Phoenix Suns still without Devin Booker, still dealing with that injury. The Minnesota Timberwolves at full strength. They had every single one of their players. Yeah, they had every single one of their players. And I have my notes here, like I normally do. Um, One thing I saw before, even before this game, and then I was interested in seeing it in this game, was so far metrically, like in the advanced stats categories and everything. The Suns have a really, really good defense. Thus far, was it like 20, 24, 25 games through the season? And it really showed last night against the Timberwolves. They tried their hardest to stop Anthony Edwards. He did heat up in the end, ending the game with 40 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, um, 1 turnover. They effectively took Jaden McDaniels out of the game, even though I think Jaden McDaniels has improved a lot offensively. He did not look comfortable at all last night. Rudy Gobert struggled. He did exit the game after picking up a flagrant penalty too. He was ejected from the game. Dante DiVincenzo did not have a good night. Bones Highland off the bench, busy Bones, um, 14 points. I'll say this and I'll say it again. I don't feel bad about saying it because it's true. Whenever Bones gets in like the 10-point range, you usually lose that game, and there's no disrespect to him. Actually, it is kind of disrespectful to him, but it's a fact. He's a ball stopper. He's a black hole. And then when he scores 10 plus, usually you lose that game because he's taking tough shots. He's taking really inefficient shots. He's putting points on the board, but they're not enough to gain a lead or sustain a lead. Um, and then when you have Anthony Edwards struggling for about half of the game essentially. Like the whole first half, he was bad. The Suns were pressuring him, pushing him into bad shots, pushing him into tough shots. And that's my other note here is that both teams were being forced to take bad shots at some point, whether it was in the first half, the second half. Anthony Edwards started to make the tough ones. And then that's when the Suns' defense started breaking down a little bit. Their offense started to sputter a little bit in the second half for the Suns. Um, when you're relying on Dylan Brooks, who gave it his all, he's slightly dinged up right now. I believe it's an Achilles strain. Um, he gave it his all, 18 points. Was it? No steals and no blocks with Dylan Brooks. Just 2 assists and 2 rebounds. Cool. He took a lot of shots. He didn't make a lot of them. Uh, in the second half, the shots started not to fall. But man, shout out to these two guys for the Suns. Mark Williams and Colin Gillespie. Now, if you've been on this channel for any length of time when you are here, when I talk about the Suns, I've been talking about Colin Gillespie since last year. I thought he was a little nice player, and I was like, oh, if he gets some more time, get some more burn, he could be something. He could be a starting point guard. I think he could be nice and sturdy. And man, oh man, He started a lot of games this year. He's had some bad ones. He's had some good ones too, and last night was a good one. The percentages and the splits aren't great. 6 for 15 from field goal, 3 of 7 from three, 19 points in total, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, only one turnover, one personal foul too, and he looked really good. He has probably looked the best and most confident I've ever seen him in the small game sample size that we have already. And I'm not sure what he is necessarily. Is he more of a two guard? Because I feel like he shoots the ball a lot more than he passes it, even though he does have some high IQ passes and his effort is really high. Um, does he work well in the grand scheme of things with Devin Booker when he comes back and Jalen Green when he comes back? Not really. I mean, if you think his ceiling is a bench player, like a six man, yeah, I guess he fits. But if you think he's a bit more than that, then I'm gonna be honest. Colin Gillespie's been playing. If Colin Gillespie plays this whole season, right, and he's a spot starter every now and then, I think I would have start having some conversations that maybe Colin Gillespie and Devin Booker is the future of this backcourt, this team's backcourt, and maybe Jalen Green is expendable once again, because Jalen Green, for the life of him, played I think 1 or 2 games this season, maybe. I'd have to let me see. Let me pull it up actually. He has played 2 games this season. I was correct. Um, Not that I have nothing against Jalen Green. I think Jalen Green and people and players like Jalen Green simply aren't winning players. I think guys like Colin Gillespie are winning players. And you're not ready to win yet as this Phoenix Suns team. But games like this make me think, oh, like 2 or 3 years from now, this team could be pretty good. It could be pretty good. And you look at a guy like Mark Williams, who's also very young, 22 points, 7 of 9, 1 of 1 from three. He made his first career 3 pointer. Like his whole career last night was his first one made. Um, 7 of 9 from free throw. We'll get to the other free throw shooters or free throw splits in a minute. 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 4 personal fouls. Mark Williams looked really. I have to find better words for really good. He looked superb last night. Um, he looked like everything everybody's been saying for the past like 2 3 years. Like this guy is really athletic. He tries hard. He catches the lobs. He does all the good stuff, and there's a bit of grit to him. And I allude to the fact that Rudy Gobert got ejected for the Timberwolves, and he got ejected because he put an arm, an elbow, a fist. I think it was a fist, like an elbow, into Mark Williams' rib cage when he was in the air, and Mark Williams went down. And I don't think it hurt that bad, but Mark Williams sold it like he was trying to win an Oscar. He was sitting there on the floor, and you could hear it because they have the hot mic near the baseline. You could hear Mark Williams going, "Oh, oh, it hurts." Oh, he was selling it, and they got Rudy Gobert out of there for that stupid stuff. But man, Mark looked really good. Um, what other things do we have here about the notes? We'll get back to the notes here in a second. These are mostly about the second half. Um, Mark Williams. Um, I think Mark Williams is really good. I think the more he plays, the less of his health concerns worry me. And that's the only thing about Mark Williams is that he just hasn't been healthy his whole career. And perhaps, maybe, just maybe, in Phoenix, he could be all right. I mean, he has all the runway to be the starting center. Nick Richards didn't play this game. Kamal Malawach didn't play this game. Um, Oso Ighodaro played this game. He didn't play well. He had 10 points, 5 rebounds. Um, Mark has all the runway to really solidify himself as a starting center in this league, and I think this season, these 24, 25 games has been a really good start for him. And I like him and Devin Booker. I like him and Colin Gillespie. Or not Devin Booker. I do like him and Devin Booker, but last night I liked him and Dylan Brooks and Con Gillespie, a little bit of Grayson Allen, a little bit of Royce O'Neal in there. Throwing some of these other guys, Oso Ighodaro 10, Ryan Dunn 2, Jordan Goodwin 9, uh, Jamar Bouye 5 points. Bouye, what a great name, Bouye. Um, Back to my notes here. Um, the Wolves tried their hardest this game, and this is what always worries me about the Wolves. Um, and why I've sat here in the same spot that I always sit here to record these videos, and I've said, man, this team is just so weird, and I hate it because it just doesn't make sense to me sometimes. It doesn't make sense to me. You pay this offseason, you pay Julius Randle, you pay Naz Reid, you still have Rudy Gobert on the books, you have Jaden McDaniels, you have Anthony Edwards, you have Dante DiVincenzo, and everybody plays bad. Everybody plays bad. Um, or at least nobody put together a complete game for the 48 minutes of this regulation game. Nobody put together a spectacular game where my eyes popped out of my head. I was like, whoa, that's really good. Naz Reid, I'm a big Naz Reid fan. I really like Naz Reid. Naz Reid is my prototype. If I was building a team, it's my prototypical center that I want. Shoots threes, athletic, has agility, passes the ball, occasional rebounder, not too great of a rebounder because of his size, but when he does get in there, he does get the rebound, he does put it back up, he does kick it back out, all that stuff. Naz Reid, who you paid $200 million, 6 points, 2 of 10 from three, 2 of 12 overall from field goal, 9 rebounds. Just not enough for me. Just not enough. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, that's not too bad. How much did he play? He played 30 minutes because Rudy Gobert got a technical foul. His fourth technical foul of the season, leading the league in technical fouls. Um, I hate it. I hate it. The positive is that the Wolves made something out of just having a few reliable players out there. Julius Randle looked okay. He looked about as Julius Randle as you can. Just couple 3 pointers, 2 of 4 from three. Most of his points came down low. Um, Jaden McDaniels, I liked him in the beginning of the game. Then he went quiet. Did not hit a single three. 0 5 from three. Dante DiVincenzo, man. I don't know what's going on with Dante DiVincenzo. Dante DiVincenzo, that name just leaves a bad taste in my mouth now. I just don't. I just don't like it. I don't like the fit with Dante and Anthony. I don't. As you're starting backcourt, I just don't like it because neither of them are a point guard, and this point has been beaten to death. But the Wolves have no real point guard except Mike Conley, and Mike Conley's like 30 on the backside of 35. He's almost 40. And when you're in situations like this, when you are getting destroyed because of the defense, you're asking a guy like Anthony Edwards to bring up the ball every possession, literally every single possession. And when you do that, he tires himself out. And then when he needs to be off ball, you hand it to Dante DiVincenzo. And I like Dante DiVincenzo, but he's not a primary ball handler. You can't throw the ball to him. Then you get Mike Conley in the game, and he's old and he's getting pressured. So if Anthony Edwards is tired getting pressured by the Suns, what do you think 30 something Mike Conley's gonna feel? He only played 15 minutes. He had 0 points, 0 of 5 from field goal, 0 of 3 from three, 4 assists, 2 personal fouls. Then you bring in like, oh, we'll get Terrence Shannon in there. He'll bring up the ball. Um we'll get Bones Highland in there. Lord, man, you relying on Bones Highland is actually somebody who could bring up the ball, and I can rely on Bones to at least control his handle, at least bring up the ball. But man, when I'm asking Bones to essentially be my point guard, when he's nowhere near a point guard, I start to slam my head against the table because I'm like, guys, you're paying essentially two centers and one forward, and you're paying Anthony Edwards, and then you're paying Jay McDaniels too. What who's bringing up the ball when you're in these tough situations, and then with Rudy Gobert fouling out, you don't have your rebound machine in Rudy Gobert, so everybody else has to pick up the rebounding slack. You got to go up there, you got to pick up the rebound, you got to dribble it down the floor. All these things take way more effort than it should, and it becomes infuriating to watch because you can see everybody's tired. You see nobody has their legs under them on the Wolves side, and you can see it towards the end of the game where Colin Gillespie starts hitting a couple threes. Nobody wants to go out and contest it because they're dead on their legs. There were multiple times where Mark Williams just kept tapping the ball around near the rim, and nobody else could get to it on the Minnesota side. And it became so infuriating to watch. And I'm not even a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, but it became so maddening to watch because it's like you can tell these guys are tired, and you can tell it's a bunch of these factors coming back from like the first half, the third quarter, into the fourth quarter, and you can see they're tired. And Anthony Edwards looked really good in the fourth. He hit a couple crazy shots. Um, we're gonna get to the full second half here in a second, but man, I feel so bad for Anthony Edwards because this team, and they started this way last year as well. They started the season bad. Um, and by bad, I mean the Minnesota Timberwolves right now are 15-9. They're not bad, but you losing to Phoenix, who's 14-10, is unacceptable. When you're supposed to be the way better team, and they're missing two of their guys, and you have all your guys. Um, this team started off bad last year, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they picked it up and they made the playoffs, and they gave the eventual champs, the Oklahoma City Thunder, a run for their money, right, in the playoffs last year. I'm gonna sit here for as long as I have to say I hate this team. I like a lot of their players. I like Anthony Edwards. I like Jaden McDaniels. I like Dante DiVincenzo. I like Naz Reid. I have no problem with Mike Conley. But this concoction, this thing you've made, this roster you're putting out that you sunk all this money into, doesn't scream competitive. It screams competitive to me, but it doesn't scream, oh, we're making it to the finals and we have a chance to win the finals. It just doesn't, man. It just doesn't, and it drives me insane. It drives me insane. Back to the game. Let's talk about the game here. I already told you about Mark Williams' first career made three. Um, Rudy Gobert got ejected in the beginning stages of the third quarter, so he was gone. Um, Dylan Brooks. I've talked about Dylan Brooks' offensive growth a lot. I noticed it in like the first 2 weeks of the season, and now everybody's starting to catch on to it. Um, Dylan Brooks has like this little shove that he does. It's like the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander shove, where he sticks his arm out a little bit, and when the defender's a little too close and he creates that separation, it's usually going to the right. So he's pushing the defender away or to the left, and he's going up with it, and it looks really good. It's crisp. You could tell he was a little what is it heavy on his feet in the second half, and it really didn't work then. But in the first half, it looked really good. Um, I already talked about Colin Gillespie and Mark Williams. Um, they looked like real starters last night. They looked really good. They looked spectacular. Um, I already yapped about them. Um, Heading down the stretch here, I have a note here that says every shot looks tough for Ant. No rest at all. And I hammered this already a couple minutes ago, but yeah, man. I don't know. I I've said in the past personally that I think Ant they need to do what they did. The Timberwolves need to do what the Rockets did with James Harden, and they need to put him at the point guard spot. They need to put him at the point guard spot. Let him learn the responsibility. Let him have the ball in his hand. Um, let him work. Let him work it out. I know he's a two, but those skills are invaluable going between the two, being a combo guard essentially. But in order to do that, you need to have somebody who's reliable to take Anthony Edwards' scoring load. If Ant's going to distribute the ball, you need somebody to take the scoring load off his shoulder, right? The Wolves don't have that. And I think the Wolves are in purgatory. And I think Ant will be in purgatory where he's going to have all this offensive load on him, all this load of bringing up the ball almost every possession. But you can't find a healthy medium if this team is struggling. Now, granted, Julius Randle could bring up the ball sometimes. Um, Joe Ingles got in the game, but he doesn't really play. Joe Ingles is a ball handler. I've already talked about this, but Rob Dillingham got a DMP last night, just did not play coach's decision. Um, you run out of options, and you run out of time if you're Minnesota. Because the team gets very expensive very quickly. And then once your team gets expensive very quickly, people are going to know you're desperate. And when you're desperate, you're going to have to start attaching picks and things to these players that you need to get rid of to get other assets that you actually need. Like in a world, you don't need Rudy Gobert. You really don't. I know people are like, oh, his defense, his defense. Look at the stats. Look at the metrics. Rudy Gobert, I believe Rudy Gobert is 32 years old. 33 years old. It's time. It's time. It's time to just move on from it. It's time to just go get a point guard, please. I am begging you. I will for the rest. We'll say the rest of December. I will not. I will talk about the Timberwolves, but I will not talk about how much they need a point guard unless it's completely necessary. Because I could sit here for the whole year, and we're gonna talk about them all year. We're gonna say they need a point guard, they need a point guard, they need a point guard, and they're just not gonna do it. They're so deadlocked with this mid team that they can't go get a point guard. I'd be very surprised if they were able to get a point guard. Talked about the free throws a little bit. The free throws have been absolutely abysmal for the Suns. They look the free throws just didn't go in last night. Just in the starting five alone, Colin Gillespie 4 for 4 from free throw. Grayson Allen 1 for 3. Mark Williams 7 for 9. Dylan Brooks 2 of 4. Royce O'Neal did not take any. Nobody on the bench took any free throws. So these ones that the starters missed, you felt these ones. You felt them, and you're like, oh my god, just go in the basket, and they didn't go in. They didn't go in at all. Um, a fun stat I heard that every team is up in the free throw shooting category. Every team is up. Statistically, this is one of the best free throw attempt years in a long time, which is nuts. Yeah, you definitely do feel it. There's definitely a lot of downtime throughout these games when they're shooting the free throws. But there's also a lot. Teams are getting like what do you call it? What's it's called what's the word when they hold the ball too long? I forget the name, but oh, delay of game. The refs are calling delay a game a lot. Um, there were a lot of technical fouls and cleaning up the game and stuff, moving the game along. That result in free throws. So I can definitely see why it's up. Um, and then I want to talk about the broadcast a little bit because usually on like Monday or Tuesday nights they do on NBC/Peacock they do like on the bench they do the on the bench broadcast where like they have one commentator on each of the benches. So one commentator on the Timberwolves bench, one commentator on the Suns bench, and then you have just the regular color guy, right? Play by play guy. Um, man, Austin Reeves has been on almost every single one of these, and this was the first time I was like, Austin Reeves, please shut the hell up, shut up, shut up. This was towards the end of the game when it started getting really close, and Anthony Edwards had the ball in his hand. He probably had made like 2 or 3 shots in a row, and Austin Rivers is like, no, yeah, Austin Rivers. Austin Rivers is like, step back three, step back three, step back three, and I was like, dude, shut up. Austin, shut up. I don't care. I don't care. Shut up. Let me watch the game. I don't need to. I'm not at a party and somebody's in my ear next to me. Step back three. Step back three. Austin, please shut up. And Austin, please stop glazing. Bones Highland. Bones Highland. He's not the guy you think he is. Um, anyway, coming down the stretch here, last part of the game, last few seconds. The Wolves had a terrible out of timeout play. I'm never shocked when these coaches don't know how to draw out of timeout plays anymore because it just seems like it's a thing that they just don't do. And it's credit to the Suns defense, but it's also credit to Chris Finch, who may or may not be falling down my coaching power rankings because I haven't seen anything from from Chris Finch, the Timberwolves coach, that makes me say, "Oh, he's pretty good." In fact, it's been quite opposite these past couple weeks of watching basketball. I'm like, Chris Finch, what are you doing? Do you know what this team is? Do you know the strengths and the weaknesses of this team? I don't think you do. Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's the game. Again, Phoenix got the W 108 to the uh, Timberwolves 105. Very close game. Very weird game. Let's head over to the standings. Talk quickly about the standings here. Go through some of the stuff that's going on in the league, and then we'll get out of here. How's that sound? That sound good? Okay. Let's start with the Eastern Conference first. Why not? So we got the Detroit Pistons at 19-5. They have been on a roll, and I've been thinking, how real is this Detroit Pistons team? Like how 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 good can they really be this year? And I'm not even going to talk about the playoffs and if they could like get to the finals. I'm just going to talk about the regular season. I think this team is really good, and they're really good because they play the way they want to play. They don't let anybody dictate how they should play the game. They've had people in and out. Cade's been out. They've had a couple people in and out of the rotation, but they've made do. And sitting above the Knicks right now, who you lost to in the playoffs last year, is good because the Knicks are sort of floundering, and the Knicks are 16-7, and I'm sort of I've said it a few times. I don't I just I don't believe in the Knicks like I did last year. I feel like they've lost something. They've lost some identity, and it's only 20 games. I don't know if you can develop an identity in what's the remaining 60 something games. But I wanna like the Knicks. I like their roster. I like a lot of their guys. I like OG Anunoby. I like Mikal Bridges. I like those defensive guys. I'm okay with Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson's alright. Josh Hart, all heart, all grit. Love Josh Hart. Not a big fan of Mitchell Robinson. My like of Karl Anthony Towns is up in the air sometimes. I just don't know if he's a center anymore. I feel like he got so used to playing with Rudy Gobert when he was in Minnesota that Cat is sort of just his brain has been melted into being a four, and having somebody else play the five for him. And I think this team is the best when he's at the five. So it's a weird conundrum there. Boston, 15-9 on the season, a resurgence from where they started the season, looking really good. Just I said this a couple weeks ago too. This Boston team is gonna win a lot of weird games. There's gonna be nights where they just win weird games, and they're gonna win it because they've been in these tough games. They've been in these situations before, and sometimes you just have the mental edge on a team already. Because a team will come in, like the Knicks will come into Boston Garden, try to beat them, and the Boston Celtics will just be mentally tougher, and they know they have the Knicks number. They've had the Knicks number for so many years, and they're like, guess what? Nothing's changed. Nothing changed, New York. We're still the Boston Celtics, and we're still going to kick your ass. Um, Moving down here to number four in the standings, the Toronto Raptors sort of floundering, sort of just floating around, 15-10 on the season. Um, they lost on a Rui Hachimura game-winning three the other night. That was crazy. Um, I don't have much to say about them. I said my preview. I thought the Raptors are going to be really good this season. This is about where I think they would be. I'd have to go back and check my preseason predictions, but this is about where I think they could end up overall, around like the 4 or 5 number. Uh, they are followed by the Orlando Magic and the Miami Heat, both 14-10, at 5-6, and the Orlando Magic just lost Franz Wagner to a high ankle sprain, but it looked like a knee injury, so they confirmed as an ankle sprain. Who knows? So now I think the Magic are without. If I click on their name here, they're without Franz and Paulo. No, Paulo's back. Okay, Paulo's back. I didn't even realize he was back. Let me see. Schedule. Let me see. When did Is he back? Hold on, let me check. They played New York. Did Paulo? Yeah, Paulo played this game. Yeah, Paulo's back. And then Franz got injured in the second game that they played together. Funnily enough, Paulo, the last game he played when he got injured was against New York, in New York. And then now that Franz got injured, that game was also against New York in New York. That's crazy. That's a crazy coincidence. Um, Interesting. Let's move on here. Let's get back to the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat. I've listened to some stuff recently, and I've looked at it myself also. The Miami Heat are playing such a amazing brand of basketball where they're just pushing the pace and they're just running people out of the gym, and it's an interesting evolution of their offense because there's been so many iterations of this Heat team under Coach Eric Spoelstra, who is, I think, no, not I think, is the best coach in basketball right now. Um, it's I encourage you to go watch some highlights of the Heat so far this season because the way they play, I don't think I've ever seen a team play like that. Um, at least through these 20 games, we'll see what happens the next 20 if they can keep it up. But this is exactly the type of thing that you expect from the Miami Heat, where they don't have a lot of stars. They're running sort of some weird lineups, but the way they play is enough to throw teams off balance and to catch teams lacking. And they sit at 14-10. At the end of the year, maybe I could see them around 4 or 5, maybe. I think this is where this is gonna end up, though. I think this is how it's gonna end up. Maybe the Celtics drop out, but I think it's the top six are gonna be Detroit, New York, Toronto, Orlando, Miami. I think that's the top. That's the tops, and we'll get to the other ones here in a second. Philadelphia sitting at 13-10. Um, they're in a weird spot right now. I could make a whole video about Philly. I think I might, but Philly's in such a weird spot, and they're such a different team night to night. But one thing I really do like is I like Tyrese Maxey, man. I like Tyrese Maxey. I like VJ Edgecombe, Valdez Edgecombe. Um, I like Jared McCain. I like a lot of their guards. And I said this in the off season. I said this when they ended their season last year. I said, guys, you need to get rid of Paul George. You need to get rid of Joel Embiid. This is even before we even knew they would have a high draft pick and they draft VJ. Um, this team is going to be really good just if it's Maxi in the draft pick. And damn was I right. Damn was I right. Um, Moving further down the ladder here, Cleveland 14-11. Again, I'll say this every time I talk about them. I just feel like this team is never going to be fully healthy, and I feel like the team is never going to have cohesion like it should. Because on paper, everybody's healthy, everybody knows their role, everybody plays. This team is really good. I don't think we're ever going to see that. I think we're going to have to wait till like March maybe to see all these guys healthy and on the court together for more than like a 2 or 3 game stretch. Um, yeah, Atlanta 14-11. Um, Jalen Johnson. That's really it for this team. Jalen Johnson has gone up a level, which is incredible to watch. Um, I never saw this from Jalen Johnson. I know a lot of people have Jalen Johnson stock, and boy, are they happy right now. Milwaukee Bucks 10-15, sort of floundering without Giannis, with Giannis sometimes. This team is yeah, this is another team I can make a whole video about. Maybe I will. And then heading down the back half of the league of the East, pardon me. Chicago 9-14, Charlotte 7-17, Brooklyn 16-16, Indiana 9-18 or 6-18, and then the Wizards 3-19. I don't have anything to say about these bottom feeders really. Chicago's disappointing to see back down here, but that's right where they belong. Um, they got off to a hot start and then They've sunk down to the bottom of the circumference. Um, don't have anything to say about Charlotte, nor the Nets, or the Pacers, or Washington. Let's move on to the West. The West. Okay. Oklahoma continuing their hot start, and this it might not be a hot start. I mean, once they win like 25 games, it's not a hot start anymore, right? It's just the way they're playing. It's just good basketball. 23-1 on the season now. Um, I th- listen. I think I've just grown to accept that maybe this team is just that much better than everybody else, and they might repeat. They might win the championship again. I think the only thing that could stop them is again going the way they went to the finals last year, playing a lot of game sevens, um, those miles adding up. The only thing that could stop them is miles. By miles, I mean like miles on the body. And eventually, the second apron's going to kill them. But that's not this year. That might be next year or the year after that. So right now, this is their window, and they're just dominating. And I really don't have anything to say about them. The Lakers, Luca, LeBron, Austin Reeves, still sitting at the top of the West, 17-6. Um, Luca, new a father times two. Welcomed a child, another child in the world. Congrats to him. LeBron broke. I think we talked about it, right. He lost his. No, I don't think we did talk about it. He lost his 10 points or more streak. Um, against Toronto. He gave up a shot of his own to get it to Rui Hachimura in the corner, and he shot the three, and he made the three, and they won the game. Um, that record was around for almost as long as I've been watching basketball. It's a crazy stat, but it's true. um, yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, and then LeBron followed it up after that game. He followed up with like a 30-point game or something. So LeBron still got it. He's taking his time. Luca came back um, from I guess somewhat paternity leave. Is it paternity? Yeah, parent leave. Yeah, like a quick couple day paternity leave. Came back. They still look good. They still look amazing. Um, Rich Paul made some comments about the Lakers. Rich Paul, LeBron's agent, made some comments about the Lakers, saying like they're not a finals team or a championship winning team. I don't agree with that necessarily. I think in a perfect world where everybody's healthy and the Lakers don't have to play the Thunder, like they're on the opposite side of the bracket, I think the Lakers can go to the finals. But I also think the Nuggets can go to the finals and the Rockets. Um, yeah. Speaking of the Nuggets, 17-6, not looking the best recently. Um, there's been a lot of questions about the team and is it built the right way and all this stuff. I think this is just beginning of the season stuff. They're trying to figure it out. You got the new guy, the new coach, whatever his name is, Aldman, whatever his name is. I'm not the biggest fan of his. He surprised me last year, but when you're a fresh coach and you surprise me, it's like, okay, cool, nice, good job. You got to keep your job. Do it again, and he hasn't really done it again. So we'll see what happens. Houston Rockets 15-6 on the season, sitting at 4. Um, just chugging along, just keeping pace, doing a nice little jog. Still dominating teams, but just doing a nice jog right now. Still no Dorian Finney-Smith. Dorian Finney-Smith is just like done. He's just gone. Big season off season, big off season acquisition. He's just gone. He's just not there. He just hasn't played a single game. Just still injured, quote unquote. Don't know. San Antonio Spurs 16-17. They're eagerly awaiting the return of Victor Wembanyama. I believe they play an NBA Cup game tonight or tomorrow. They said he's probably not going to play in that game, but probably the next one after that. So at some point this week or this weekend, Victor Wembanyama will be back for the Spurs. We'll get to finally see him and De'Aaron Fox, hopefully for more than 4 games together, and we'll get a real gauge on this team. And maybe they can move up these standings a little bit. Um, Minnesota Timberwolves 15-9. We just talked about them this whole half of the video. Talked about Phoenix as well. 14-10. Don't much to say about them. Golden State floundering. Steph Curry also be back soon. Um, we'll see what happens there. I don't have much to say about the Warriors. I'm just I'm disappointed, but I'm also kind of no. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. The Warriors should not have to be in the play-in. If this Warriors team is in the play-in again, just wrap it up. It's over. This version of the team or this era of the team might as well be over because the Warriors are so old and so they need as much rest as they can. If you have to be in the play-in again and have to work your way through the play-in, through the first round, through the second round, and maybe even at least try to get to the conference finals, you're absolutely cooked. You're absolutely done. You are cooked. Um, can't put those miles on the body. Um, but yeah, that's all I have to say. Memphis Grizzlies hanging around 11-13. No Ja Morant. Grizzlies fans are over the moon with Zach Edey as their starting center. They've turned on Jared Jackson Jr. They've absolutely turned on Jared Jackson Jr. um, and they're still impressed with guys like Cedric Howard and all those other guys. Portland has not looked good the last couple games. Not looked good at all. And they're just not ready. They're just not ready to compete. If you're hanging around here with the Grizzlies, the Warriors, and Phoenix, you're just not ready, and that's okay. It's okay. You're just not ready. Um, Dallas picking it up a little bit. We're heading in past the number 10 into number 11 and below. Dallas picking up a little bit. Cooper Flag looking a little bit better. Um, Anthony Davis just out there doing stuff. Utah Jazz. The only thing about the Utah Jazz I've seen all season is that their coach was in the huddle and like he was so upset. He was like, "You guys have to play freaking harder. I'm tired of telling you every game you have to play harder." Credit to the coach. I like the coach a lot. Who's their coach again? Can I pull it out of my head right now? I can't right now. I can't remember his name. Good coach though. Good guy. Sacramento Kings. Let's save the Kings. We'll come back to the Kings. Clippers floundering 6-18. I was sold on the Clippers again, and they've let me down once again. And then New Orleans Pelicans 3-22. Zion out for the foreseeable future, at least like 2 to 3 weeks. And then right after that announcement came out, Derek Queen got a triple double and looked like the future of the New Orleans Pelicans. So yeah, that's what's going on in New Orleans right now. Besides the other stuff, and then the Kings, man, the Kings. The Kings, what's his name? What's his title? The president of basketball operations, the GM, whatever his name is, Scott Perry, um, requested that basically they go into another rebuild, um, and they be bad for another 3 to 5 years and try to rebuild. And I saw that report. I believe it was by what's his name? Amick on the yeah Amick or something. Yeah. Um, I saw that report and I was like, oh my god, the Kings haven't been really good since the 2000s. And the kids that watched those games when they were in the conference finals going against the Lakers, those kids are now adults. And then you're asking, and they had one good season a couple of seasons ago in the 2020s. So those kids are adults now, and they got to watch one good season of Kings basketball. And now you're the GM is asking, "Hey, let's be bad again." Asking the owner, "Can we be bad again?" So we can be good in the 2030s. Those kids who watched those games in the 2000s are now adults. They got one good season of Kings basketball, and now those kids are gonna have kids when the Kings are supposedly gonna be good again. Ridiculous, ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. It actually made me kind of mad because I was like, that has to be a shit feeling. When your team had one good season of basketball in the past 20 years, and now they're not going to be good again until the 2030s. Oh my god. Man, oh man. Oh yeah, but that's it. That's the video. We talked about Suns, Timberwolves. We did a little NBA wrap up talking about the standings and everything. If you like what I say, like the video. If you have your own opinions, comment it down below. Check out my NBA Hot Topics playlist. I'll put a card in the top right corner. You click it, it will take you right to the playlist. You can watch all the hot topics from the past couple months and all that good stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers.